Have you ever wanted to jump into the world of gluten-free sourdough but felt stuck, not knowing where to start and overwhelmed by all the information online? Or even just not sure if you have time to add gluten-free sourdough to your already busy schedule? I hear you, girl. There's a lot to learn when it comes to gluten-free sourdough, but I'm here to show you that we can make this learning curve so much easier for you. By the end of this video, we're going to cover 3 tips for succeeding with gluten-free sourdough and how to best set you up for success. Hi, I'm Julia. I've been making gluten-free for 15 plus years and learned a lot. I've been selling gluten-free bread at my local farmer's market for 2 years now, and I really love helping other people learn how to make it themselves in their kitchen. I sell a gluten-free sourdough starter that you can buy, and it's been so much fun to get messages back from people and feedback and just see how their journey's going. I'm excited to get to help you start your sourdough journey. I created a step-by-step video guide to help you make your first loaf of gluten-free sourdough. We cut out all the fluff and all the research time, and you can just delve into this course and take it step by step as you learn to make a few recipes along the way, with ultimately gluten-free sourdough bread being your final result. Along the way, you're going to learn how to make pancakes, gluten-free pizza crust, my best-selling banana bread, and another bestseller, my apple streusel cake. And all of those are sourdough, and they're going to help you learn how to work with a sourdough starter and really warm you up, so when we go to the actual bread, it's not as overwhelming. You can just jump right in and feel very confident. Also, my main bread recipe is a no-knead recipe, so you do not have to worry about perfect timings or really precise foldings and techniques and all that. It's pretty simple. If you're just wanting to get started, this is a great recipe for you. If you're interested in starting your journey into gluten-free sourdough bread, type sourdough course in the comments and I'll send that right over to you. In this video, we're going to talk about the 3 tips for success, but first I want to give you a little bit of my background. This is my first YouTube video, very happy to see you guys, but I wanted to give you a little bit of my background and where I'm coming from to encourage you on your journey and make you feel like you can actually do this. So for years, I've really wanted to make sourdough. It seemed like something so fun and healthy and nourishing for your family and also tasty. I've loved sourdough my whole life, so we got the store-bought sourdough, of course, but I've always loved that sourdough flavor. Someone in my family has been gluten-free for most of my growing up, so I've pretty much always been working with the gluten allergy in baking, and I actually haven't baked too much with wheat. I mostly stick to gluten-free flours and have since early 2000s when gluten-free wasn't very good. Anyway, we're gonna jump to my sourdough journey. I wanted to make sourdough when it became a thing. It seemed like really cool, really healthy, but it was a little intimidating to me. There was like so much to learn, and everyone had their own way of doing it. Wow, this is overwhelming, and I don't know if I really want another thing that I have to do. The starter itself seemed like so much work because you kept it on your counter and you had to keep feeding it, and it just seemed like having a pet on your kitchen counter, and I was like, I don't know if I really want to do all that. I also knew that I would struggle a lot to keep up that schedule of constantly feeding it every day on the kitchen counter. I knew I'd probably forget sometimes, and it just seemed so overwhelming as a whole. But then one day I came across a lady who was teaching how to make a dry starter. And I was like, interesting, okay. So I was watching her video, and her starter, instead of a runny batter that's always bubbling over, her starter is more like a thick, Play-Doh-like consistency. I was so intrigued by the way that she did it because she only fed her starter once a week. And I was like, feed your starter once a week? Wow, that just cut down my job by 7. Like, it took 1/7 of the job off or 1/6 of the job off, because instead of having to feed my starter 7 days a week, I'm only feeding it 1 day a week, and the rest of the time it was stored in the fridge, and I only had to pull it out when I needed it, and I was like, oh, this is life-changing. I think I can do this. And so it really was that method that got me started on my gluten-free sourdough journey. Now, she made a regular sourdough starter. She was using either einkorn or a whole wheat, and I knew that although maybe I would be able to tolerate that initially, I figured eventually it probably would bother me, so I'm like, I'm just gonna make it gluten-free. And so that's what I did. I started my gluten-free sourdough starter on the kitchen counter. I took her general guidelines, but I came up with new ratios for my gluten-free flours, which I started with rice flour, xanthan and water. And I just kept growing that thing on my kitchen counter, and it was a journey. It took me a couple weeks before I was finally able to make something. I had researched it, and pancakes seemed like a really easy thing to make. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna make pancakes. No stress. If you fail a batch of pancakes, what's the big deal? I knew my starter was young, and to get your starter really established, it's just gonna take a little time. So I was like, okay, let's try pancakes. I tried making my first batch of pancakes, and they turned out amazing. I was so happy. Okay, I think I can do this. It was so motivating and inspiring and made me want to go and make more recipes, because it's like, hey, this worked out so well. I was ready for it to fail, honestly, but the pancake recipe turned out so well. It was nice and bubbly, light and fluffy. I was like, these are amazing. I'll compete with any regular wheat pancake recipe. I was so happy. Another benefit with gluten-free sourdough is gluten-free can be a little bit grainy and a little bit like you have that little bit graininess to your baked goods, but once you make gluten-free into sourdough, you've just upped the level. There's no more graininess, it's just nice and soft and oh so good. I've been very happy with this method I've found, and I feel like it's actually sustainable. Like here I am, 2 to 3 years in, I'm still making gluten-free sourdough. Yeah, sometimes my starter goes for longer lengths of time than it should without being fed, but it's not the end of the world. As long as you do it within a reasonable amount of time, you can still pick up where you're left off and just feed it and encourage those microorganisms. Once I had that pancake recipe under my belt, I was very happy to jump into my next recipe, and I knew that I wanted to stick on my recipe until I had mastered it. So the next recipe I chose was pizza crust, because who doesn't need a good pizza crust recipe? And so I started making pizza crust, and my sister is the most picky, so I kept making the recipe until she liked it. Once she liked it, and I loved it too by that point, I was like, okay, this is really good. I was like, ready for the next thing. I think it was after that I finally started working on a no-knead gluten-free sourdough bread recipe, and I am so happy with the results I finally came up with. It wasn't without its bumps and bruises though. The first recipe was so bad, I fed it to my pigs. At least they liked it. They've always been very loyal supporters of my baked goods, no matter what. Even if no one else likes it, my pigs will eat it. Hey, it makes me happy. Anyway, I came up with this amazing bread recipe, and I'm so excited to get to share it with you all. This is the reason I created my gluten-free sourdough one course, which is a step-by-step video guide to get you started in your own gluten-free sourdough journey. If you're interested in learning more about that, comment sourdough course below and I'll get that sent right over to you. All right, so now I want to talk about my 3 tips for success, because guess what? Sourdough can be overwhelming. It is a bit of a journey, but you can do it, okay? Number 1 is don't overthink things. Don't overthink things, just do it. Just get started. You might fail, that's okay. But if you actually just stop overthinking and just get in the kitchen and start trying different recipes, I promise you will be so glad in the end that you stuck with it. And that leads me right into the next one, which is number 2, be ready to fail. My first loaf didn't turn out. The pancake recipe was the first time. That one did turn out right the first time. But it still takes a little bit of work. So you'll have some wins, you'll have some fails, but just jump right back up and keep trying, because you really can do this. It's not that hard. There's a bit of a learning curve, but if you're really invested, you're gonna make it over that learning curve. And you're gonna be making these amazing gluten-free treats right along with the rest of us. All right, number 3 is come up with a sustainable routine that works for you. All right, you don't need it to work for me. You don't need it to work for your friend. You need your routine to work for you so that you keep up with your gluten-free sourdough starter. So there's lots of different ways to do this. For one, you're gonna need to feed it once a week or about once a week. You can probably go up to 10 days without feeding it. Come up with a routine. Can you do a once a week routine and that's all you can give to it? Then maybe once a week. You're gonna feed your starter, then you're gonna prep a batch of bread and a batch of pancakes for the next morning and one other treat for the week, and that's all you do. Hey, but that's something you can devote. You're probably gonna need 2 days for that, so you're gonna start everything on one day. So you're gonna feed your starter and start your bread and start another recipe or 2 on one day. That's gonna take you a couple minutes. It's not gonna take you that long, maybe 30 minutes. Maybe if you really wanna take a long time, maybe it takes you an hour, okay? So let's just give you lots of grace there. Say it takes you an hour to get your baked treats for the week started on day number 1. And then you're gonna let them sit in the fridge for 48 hours. And that is to give you all the health benefits of a long ferment sourdough and to really let everything come together the way that sourdough needs. So you're gonna start everything on one day, you're gonna skip a day, it's in the fridge sitting for a day, and then the next day you're gonna do your baking. And that's gonna take some time, again, depending on what you're making, but it's totally doable. Let's just say that 2 days a week, you're gonna spend 30 minutes on one day, and let's say 1 to 2 hours on the other day to get all your baked treats made for the week. That's not a bad schedule. You can do that. I can do that. I just want to show you that this really is doable for you, even if you're busy. Now, if you're more a schedule girl and you like to keep it in routines, maybe you pull your starter out of the fridge and you make a batch of pancakes a couple times a week. It takes a few minutes to throw all the ingredients together, mix them up, and put them in the fridge or leave them out overnight. Then the next morning when you want to make breakfast, you have that step out of the way and it doesn't take long. You add in a few more ingredients and then you're pouring the batter in the pan and flipping your pancakes and breakfast is done. It really doesn't have to take that long if you know what you're doing. So that's another thing. In my step-by-step video course, I do take a lot of time to show you how this can fit even into a busy schedule, because I want you to succeed. My goal here is to help you get started on your journey and see you succeed in making gluten-free sourdough and all these other amazing gluten-free baked treats that you can be making right in your own kitchen if you just give it a shot. If you're ready to skip the hassle of learning all this on your own and jumping into all the information online, comment sourdough course below and I will send you a link to my step-by-step video course that takes you through all these steps without any of the hassle, and you can get started on your gluten-free sourdough journey today. If you're not quite sure you're ready for that, but you still want to give it a shot, check out this video where I'm going to show you how to start your own gluten-free sourdough starter from scratch in your own kitchen. I'll see you over there.